Have you ever thought about what really fuels a brand's power in the roofing industry? Today's episode brings a unique perspective straight from my journey. Over the years, from building niche websites to launching roofer marketers, I've seen firsthand that brand and omnipresence are more than just buzzwords. They're the foundation of success. So in this special episode, I dive into what I believe every roofing company needs to thrive: establishing a strong brand identity, creating consistent customer impressions, and leveraging omnipresence. It's all about becoming unforgettable in your market. As the host of the Roofing Success podcast and a digital marketing coach for the Roofing and Solar Reform Alliance, I've spent years helping contractors master lead generation, brand visibility, and customer retention. Today, I'm sharing those insights directly with you. What sets my journey apart is my hands-on experience from every piece of the puzzle, from real estate lead funnels to making the phone ring for roofing businesses nationwide. Building a powerful brand presence, especially in a crowded field like roofing, has been both my passion and my mission. So get ready for a conversation packed with actionable strategies, from brand consistency to customer loyalty, all aimed at helping you become the best known roofer in your area. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Roofing Success Podcast. I'm Jim Ahlin, and I'm here to bring you insights from top leaders in the roofing industry to help you grow and scale your roofing business. All right, today's episode is going to be a little bit different. I have been getting a lot of feedback recently from some of my team, from members that I coach in the Roofing and Solar Reform Alliance, and it's a little bit different. They're like, Jim, how come you don't talk on the podcast, right? How come you don't share your thoughts as much? You know, I enjoy the interviewing aspect of it. I promise you, it's one of my favorite things to do. I love to learn from other people. But today, I wanted to share some things that I think we're missing, some gaps that I'm seeing in what we're, you know, what the content that we're creating here on the podcast. And so today are my thoughts. So I don't know if everyone knows, you know, my background is in digital marketing. I started doing web development in 2002. It's been a long journey. I learned, you know, Facebook ads along the way, Google ads along the way, SEO along the way, mainly by working on my own stuff, right? I learned SEO by building a bunch of, back then we called them niche websites, and real product specific websites that I would get ranking in Google, and I would throw Google AdSense on it, and I would make some money. And you know, I did pretty good. At one point in time, I had like 43 of these sites ranking on a good month. I'd make 10, 11 grand. On a bad month, I'd make like $4,000. And, you know, but that was my introduction to SEO. And then I was in the mortgage and real estate business, and one of the things that I did, you know, with my mortgage teams would be to help them develop relationships with realtors. And so I would help them. One of our strategies was we would do lead generation for realtors, and then, you know, essentially get to work the loans for those buyers that we help create. And so that's how I learned how to run Google ads. I learned Google ads building, kind of inbound lead funnels through Google ads for realtors, for people searching for homes, and then turning those into customers. And then I learned Facebook ads, selling T-shirts on Facebook. I sold thousands of T-shirts on Facebook, and all of these little things. It's really fun to me looking back and saying, man, like connecting the dots, all of these things led to this certain place. And, you know, so I was in the mortgage and real estate industry, and it, you know, post crash, I did a lot of real estate investing, and then I built up a new mortgage branch. And during that time, man, mortgages really sucked. And if any of you went through, you know, getting a mortgage from 2008 to 2000, you know, probably still to today, The mortgage process was really terrible, and every day was just like unhappy customers. And so I pivoted. A lot of when I was doing my real estate investing, a lot of people, a lot of contractors that I worked with, friends that I had along the way, everyone was like, "Hey, you know how to build those website things, right?" So I started doing that for other people. I started doing lead generation for companies, mainly contractors, a couple roofing contractors, electrical contractor. And all through that, I started building my skill set in marketing. What I learned about myself is that my favorite thing to do is make the phone ring. And so, when you think of the customer journey, that awareness stage of the customer journey, that consideration phase, those two is where I live, man. I love that. I really, really enjoy it. And that's what led to Roofer Marketers. And then, of course, we exited Roofer Marketers to JobNimbus, and now Roofer Marketers is a JobNimbus company. And through all this journey, man, I've learned so many things. But the first thing and the main thing is that brand and omnipresence is the core of everything. The way I like to put it is brand is greater than everything. If you look at the successful roofing contractors in your area, they're the best known, right? It's not the best. And we wrote the book on it, The Best Known Roofer. And I started hearing this terminology. I know it's I've heard it from Grant Cardone, and, best known beats best. And it's not new terminology that I'm using, but it's omnipresence, and becoming best known has entered the language of marketing for roofing contractors and other contractors. I see, there's a lot of books now on, after we did the best known roofer, there's best known XYZ on Amazon. There's other books around there. And it's really a testament, right? That this is the core of it, man. Brand is greater than everything. If you pull up to a house, you've heard me with this analogy before. I heard it. I learned it from a podcast guest that I had on. If you pull up to a house in a rusty Ford F-150 with a magnet slapped on the side, and a dirty shirt, and writing everything on a piece of paper, your brand tells that homeowner you can be negotiated with. If you pull up in that nice, very well presented, maybe a nice wrapped truck, good, nice polo shirt tucked in, very professional, that speaks differently to the consumer. So that's brand. That's, in essence, is brand, right? And brand can be measured in a few different ways. As your roofing journey, as you go through your roofing business journey, or in any business journey, you'll start to learn how strong your brand is based on the foundational business that you have for the year. The way I like to think about it is, man, if I didn't do any marketing, what do you think we would hit from a revenue basis this year? That's what I'm looking at, right? Like, what is our baseline? What if we didn't market ourselves? What would we hit? Just from past customer referrals and people knowing that we exist. That's brand. So let's say that's, maybe, you've been in business for 15, 20 years, and man, no matter what you do, the phone will ring and you'll do $3-4 million in business, right? Like, if that's the case, that's your brand. That's the effect of your brand. If you're new to business, no one's calling, right? So your brand is small. You don't really have brand. So we really want to make sure that we build a strong brand identity. I've had guests on the podcast like Travis with Planet Roof out in Pittsburgh, and man, he's when they did their brand change to Planet Roof, and like just driving the trucks down the road, all of a sudden they were having different conversations than they were before. It really differentiates you in a saturated market. one of the really early episodes of the podcast, I had Dustin Beigler from Apple Roofing, who is since passed away, and but man, what an amazing mind for brand and for marketing, and an amazing business owner, and with Apple Roofing, they're in, they started it in like Lincoln or Omaha. I can't remember where they started, but in the Lincoln, Omaha area, and everything in Nebraska is red and white, right? Based on the college and those are the colors of Nebraska. And so they went against the grain, and they went with this bright green color. And I remember him telling me about a storm that happened in the mid 2000 teens. I think maybe it was 2015, 17, whatever it was, somewhere in there, that there was Google Earth shots. They had custom felt paper, and a custom underlayment, and that was bright green with the Apple logo on it. And you could see like pictures of Google Maps and things, like you could see where they were just doing so many houses in a neighborhood that it was just like green with this with their custom underlayment. And that's like those types of things, right? As their trucks are driving around town, people see them and differentiate them. It's a big deal, man. And that's one of the thing. And so some things about brand for you to start to think about brand, some actionable tips for you, to start with having consistency in your visuals and messaging, right? So if you're saying the same thing over and over again, we are just ending election season here in the United States, and boy, you're hearing the same things over and over again, aren't you? Right? It's the same, the same taglines, the same slogans, the same verbiage being used every time. It's one of my biggest pet peeves with politicians, right? Is that they don't answer a question. They're just, so they just use these like pre-canned messages, but they do that for a reason. They do that because it gets in your head, right? It gets in your head that same message over and over and over and over and over again. Consistency in visuals, right? So, really defining your brand from a visual perspective, brand colors, getting a really good logo designed. Every roofer, the majority of roofers have that little outline of a house with their company name in it. And it, how can you differentiate yourself and stand out? Apple Roofing did the apple, and it's like they put together something that everyone knows, Apple, with roofing, right? Planet Roof has a really cool planet and, really cool logo. There's so many more examples of this out there, but it begins to differentiate you from the others in your market. And so, but you have to be consistent, right? So all of your trucks looking the same, all of your colors, your logos, shirts for your reps, for your production team, for your installers. Everyone has the same identity, right? It's very uniform on your trucks, on social media, on your Google business profile, all across every platform. Anywhere someone sees you, you want to have that brand consistency. And so slogans, if you're using, if you're using a slogan like my friends at MHI Roofing, we do this every shingle day, right? If you're using a slogan, using that across all touch points, right? Using that over and over again. And it's amazing how much we will remember that consistency, right? It is amazing. I remember we were working with one of our clients and roofer marketers was a Lowe's preferred contractor. And I remember we were doing this Facebook campaign that was co-branded with Lowe's with them, and Lowe's sent over their what's considered what's called a brand guide, and so a brand guide, as a small company, you might not have one, but it's something that you should look into, and it's down to what fonts to use, what colors to use, what slogans you can be used for this and that. It was 115 pages of how to represent the Lowe's brand in any situation, right? So, that's not something that you have to do as a small business, but think about that. Taking the cues from these large corporations. They know what they're doing, man. They've built, billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar businesses, and it's all about that branding. Other things that I think really add to brand or add to emphasize your brand, I'll say, is more emphasizing your brand is social proof and client testimonials. Hearing from someone else that you are good, right? It's like a referral, right? And people trust online reviews as much as a recommendation from a friend or family member, right? So, and that's just your Google review, right? If there's a video that goes along with that says how this person felt, the problem that they were trying to solve when they started looking for a roofing contractor to work with, and so, maybe after each job, request a review, of course, on Google, but also see if they're willing to, do a video with you. Pull out this phone, right? Everybody has one of these in their pocket. These are 4K cameras these days, right? Decent mics on them already. Pull it out and start filming that. On one of the episodes, we had Rabinski Roofing, and they used, I don't know if they're still doing this, but they did it for, you'd go to their social media and it was just customer review after customer review after customer review. I mean, the amount of emphasis that or, trust that will build with a future customer, man, that it's amazing. And then, from there, once, you have your brand consistency, you're emphasizing your brand, the trust in your brand through social proof and customer testimonials. And then then we need a content strategy for omnipresence, right? And so, we want to use social media, YouTube, Google effectively to get your brand in front of people. So the fundamentals of marketing, it's something for everyone to think about. The fundamentals of marketing are who are you trying to speak to, right? The demographics of your perfect customer. Not everyone is your perfect customer. So the who, is it the suburban, soccer mom? Is it, who is your perfect customer? If you're on the commercial side, the property, maybe a property manager, building owners, things like that. Who is your perfect customer? Then the next thing that we do in foundational marketing is the message, right? So it's the who and the what. So that what is the next phase that we're going at. That's what we're saying. That's your slogans, your taglines. That's your core value, expressing of your core values. It's the things that the words that you feel will resonate with those people that you consider your perfect customer. And so then we move on to the how, right? And that's how are we going to get this message that we've created in front of these people that we want to target. Like, these are our people, right? These are the very specific people that we want this message to go in front of. So in that, we're going to, most of your customers are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, but they also may be, at local events, right? They may be, at the little league fields in town, if they're, or at the local soccer fields, like we said with the soccer mom. We have to think about where these people are and where we can get our messaging. You think about radio and television. the demographic audience that listens to a sports radio show is different than the audience for that daytime or that morning news or the local news morning show, right? That's there's different audiences. It's easy to segment that way, but like with digital, you can really segment that very easily, right? It's much easier to get to the people that you want showing up, on Facebook. Even if you're doing just the strategy of local, being 5 mile famous, as Joseph Hughes puts it, or getting locally, micro famous is another way to put it. Like, realtors do this all the time. They call it farming. So they'll farm a neighborhood. They'll choose a neighborhood and they'll just market to that neighborhood over and over again. They'll send newsletters and they'll send magnets for your fridge that have the local sports schedule on it. And they'll there's all this stuff, but it's just a consistent message to those people. And on social media, I think it's very easy to find those people and get to those people. On Google also, if you can write blog content for your website, create YouTube videos that match up with your local area, and you'll really get in front of people. But for omnipresence, and I love the term omnipresence. I know it sounds like a challenging word, a challenging thing to accomplish, but it's really just being in front of your perfect audience as much as possible wherever they are at, right? So wherever you can get your message in front of them, wherever you can get a brand impression, right? A brand impression maybe on a billboard on the major thoroughfare in your area that all of the people in your area drive up and down. My friends at, getting your building, having a building on a major road and having your signage there also is another idea. There's a couple of great roofing companies I know that have done that, and they really get a lot of attention, right? A lot of people driving up and down those roads. That's an easy way of thinking about it. But another way is just a social media post. Every time you open up your Facebook, or your Instagram, you will see, the stories of that people are posting. And if you can show up in those stories, if you're posting one story a day, every time people that follow you open up that phone, they are going to see that. They're going to see your brand, right? They're going to see your logo if you have your logo as your profile picture for your page. And so you're always getting these brand impressions. You're always, if you're sending a newsletter, to past customers, just, may just talk about what's happening in the community locally, things like that. But every time that newsletter hits their inbox, that's a brand impression. Every time they see a yard sign in someone's yard while they're driving up and down the street, every time they see your truck driving down the road, that's a brand impression. So we want to accumulate as many brand impressions as possible. And we can do that in so many ways, right? But it takes doing all of it at once, right? But start with one thing, right? Start with your trucks, your yard signs, move on to doing some social media, building up your website presence, building, like, all of these things add to that omnipresence. So, it's amazing what happens. I've seen companies grow very, very quickly, from this, but also not just quickly, but sustainably also, because as you're just, iterating on your business, you're doing the next thing and doing something a little bit better. And now you're starting to do some Facebook and Instagram posts. And then now you're starting to, get some blog articles published on your website. And now you're sponsoring the local Little League. It doesn't have to happen all at once. You could do one thing at a time, but make sure that you're adding it to your repertoire, right? So once you add it, it's part of what you do on an ongoing basis. So omnipresence is the goal. Become the best known roofer in your area. We wrote the book in 2021, The Best Known Roofer. Check that out. It's on Amazon. But that's the fundamental vision of what you want to do. And then we want to move on. Kind of the next phase of this is your current customers and really making sure that they are becoming raving fans, right? So having great communication is the key to all of this. The way that I like to put it is, if your customers are wondering, you are losing. Let me put that again. If your customers are wondering, you are losing. So let me give you some examples of this. A customer goes to Google, they type in best roofer near me, they go to your Google ad and click on it, or they go to your Google business profile and call you, or they go to your website and call you, and they get a voicemail. Or no, let's say your team answers the phone. I see a lot of contractors doing this. Their team answers the phone, but whoever answers the phone doesn't have the schedule of the sales team. So they say, hey, great, I got all your information. You need our services. I'm going to have Jim call you back and let you know when he has time to maybe come out during when you have time to see if we can solve your problem. Now, it's said, of course, a little bit differently. Hey, I'm going to have Jim call you and get on his schedule, right? Like, it's something simple as that. But it's really not that. It's you are letting people wonder. So now they have to wonder, when is Jim going to call me? Is Jim going to call me? Is he going to have a time that's convenient for me? There's a lot of questions that start coming up in that process. So just at that point in time, you're losing, right? But if you get that appointment booked on that call, now they're not wondering anymore. They know, hey, Wednesday at 4 p.m., Jim's going to be at my house and he's going to do an inspection. And so, but now I come out and do the inspection, right? And let's say it's a retail job, and I'm like, all right, great, I did the inspection. I'll get you your estimate as soon as I can, right? And so again, think about it, right? Like, I'll get you an estimate when I have time. When are you going to get me this estimate, right? Like, that now they're wondering, when are they going to when's Jim going to get me this estimate? What's the cost going to be? Can I afford it? Like, all of these things start going through their head. So putting together a process where you can get that estimate to them instantaneously or as quickly as possible, right? They're not wondering. Now they're not wondering. Great. They signed the contract. We're good to go. Now they start wondering, well, when am I going to get on the schedule? When is my roof going to be replaced? What do I need to do? Do I need to have the dogs put away? Do I need to, can I have my car in the driveway? What do I have to move things around? Can I be home? Man, I work from home. Can I work from home that day when they're putting on the roof? Like, how many things are they wondering? So now you have an opportunity in that follow-up communication to really define exactly the process and how things are going to work and when they'll be on the schedule and when their materials were ordered and all of the wonderful things. And then once the job is complete, you have such an opportunity to explain to them how to communicate with you if they have an issue, what their warranty is, how to communicate referrals, how to refer people to you. You never want them wondering how to refer you, right? So all of these things, that consistent follow-up that builds that strong customer relationship, turning people into raving fans. So, that's such an important part, right? Other aspects of it, I've had some guests on the podcast that have very successful customer loyalty programs where they'll give gifts for referrals, or they'll give cash for referrals. Or not just for referrals, but and not just for closed jobs. They'll give, a lot of times people will give Starbucks gift cards just for a name, right? So it doesn't have to be tied to the job. But I promise you, no one will refer you if they feel like they're not sure if you're going to do a good job, because when they refer you, they put their name on the line, right? Other things to do in that follow-up, and we kind of talked about it in the Omnipresence a little bit around Omnipresence, but maybe an email newsletter that goes out to them, and it's just talking about things that are going on, and it doesn't have to be specifically all roofing all the time, but within that newsletter you can have seasonal roof care tips, signs of roof issues, maintenance reminders. If there was a recent storm, you can include that, hey, there was a recent storm. These are some things to look out for. So lots of things that you could customize and tailor that ongoing communication to those people. So now we have omnipresence, right? We're focused on omnipresence. We're really focused on the consistency in your brand and visuals and messaging. We're focused on the social proof, customer testimonials, the content strategy for omnipresence. We're focused on that customer retention and building of raving fans through good communication, exceptional communication. Maybe build some customer loyalty programs, some custom tailored content for past customers to keep in touch with you. Now I think the next really important thing is learning how to make data-driven marketing decisions. It's really challenging when you have an omnipresent approach, I promise. Because maybe you're knocking doors and you put a door hanger out or a letter, leave a letter. Then they're driving in and out of their neighborhood and they see your yard signs a couple of times. Then, the house, across the street and down 4, that you guys are doing a build. So all your trucks are out there and everything's going on. And then maybe they see a Facebook ad from you, and then, they Google you, and then they get in your retargeting funnel. And there's all these, it's very challenging to know where everything comes from. But the foundation of everything from, to me is call tracking. And I know so many contractors that are so against call tracking. They hate call tracking phone numbers because they think that people know your phone number. I promise you, no one knows your phone number, right? There are so very few people that know your phone number. Once the cell phone was invented, we entered a phone number in and we forgot our mom's phone number. We forgot our grandma's phone number. We forgot our sister and brother's phone numbers. We forgot everyone's phone numbers. And of course, there's a few of us that still remember a few, some of these numbers, but my goodness, man, people just do that. They'll just go and call from somewhere. They'll Google you and then grab your phone number and call you from there, right? So, but you want to have call tracking. That's kind of the foundation of everything is your call tracking. So, having different phone numbers, and you don't have to have 500 different phone numbers, but at least, really separating it. If you're running Google ads, like Google local services ads, Google guaranteed, Google's going to have a call tracking number on there. You don't have a choice in it, right? So that phone number came from there. But on your Google business profile, you're going to want to have a call tracking number. You're going to want to know that someone came and called from that phone number. You're going to want to know if someone called from your website. And if you have a sophisticated call tracking system, it will show you what page they called from. And sometimes if the data is available, if Google shares the data, which it doesn't always, but it could. Sometimes they'll pass on what the person typed into Google. led to them finding your website that led to them calling you, right? You can see what page on your website they called from. There's so many cool things that you can learn from call tracking. If you're split testing ad copy, that messaging, right? We talked about the who, the what, right? The what. When you're split testing your messaging, you may have, differentiators in your call tracking for that. I've seen companies that really want to reward their sales reps, and they'll give them, a specific phone number or call tracking number that goes on their yard signs and different things to really get. So this could get really granular. In the beginning, I would just say, have call tracking, have it set up, have your foundational things of where people are calling you from all separated so that you can start to make good decisions as to where, or at least know where that customer is coming from. Google Analytics and social media insights and things like that are some all other things that you're going to be able to track with. In Google Analytics, you're going to get to learn a lot about how people are finding you. We talked a lot about brand in the beginning here, and one of the measurements of brand is how many people are searching for your brand name. So over time, you want your brand name to increase in search volume. That's telling you that people know who you are, right? They're typing in MHI Roofing or Apple Roofing, or right. They're typing in the actual name of your company. That is an indication of brand. So tracking brand through how many it's in, you can do that in through Google Analytics and the Google Search Console. Making sure that you're just following along, and maybe you have some goals along with that, right? Maybe you have some goals along with that. And those goals are set through your KPIs. So, having great KPIs, understanding what you're tracking, like if you're doing social media, I struggled with this for years. My goal was always quantity. So I just put a lot of posts out there, and over the years, what I've learned is I should have been measuring better. I should have been looking at these specific posts and, hey, which one really connected, right? And what you're looking for, a great social media strategist, a great, he's kind of a very big figure in social media, is Gary Vaynerchuk. And now, with the way that the algorithms behind social media have gone more to an interest-based algorithm than a connections-based algorithm. Like before, only people that followed you or were friends of yours would see your posts. Now, it's if people are interested in it, the algorithm's going to show it to different people. And so instead of quantity, you may have a goal of views, right? So maybe you have a goal of 1,000 views a week or a day. And so if you could get one post to 1,000 views, that is just as good as, or it's even better than getting 5 posts at 200 views a piece, because you're getting something that's connecting a little more. So as you're building this up, as you're building out your KPIs, you really want to take a look at that. You want to take a look at measuring your followers. How many followers are we adding? And having goals for this, right? Having goals for how many views you're getting per week, how many interactions, maybe comments, things like that. And when you have these types of goals and you're measuring this on an ongoing basis, now you have a better idea, right? So some things from your website perspective that you can measure. Impressions. You want to have more and more impressions over time. But then you want to also have clicks, right? So Google will measure impressions and clicks. So maybe you show up in a lot of searches, but if no one's clicking on your website as the choice to go to for that search, that's something that you want to focus on. So you want to make sure that you're getting the clicks. You want to make sure that, like I said, we're looking at brand searches, and that's getting that those are increasing over time. In social media, you're looking at reach and impressions. You're looking at then lead volume by channel. So you're looking at how many referrals you got, how many leads came from SEO or from your website, how many came from emails, how many came from your social media, your Facebook ads, how many came from your Google ads, how many came from your Google local services ads, how many came from that radio ad or that TV ad. And sometimes, like I said, when you're focused on an omnipresent approach, a multi-channel marketing approach, it becomes different. It becomes difficult, but you kind of do your best. And what we look at in that is first impression, first impression and last impression. So was it the first thing that they saw? Was it the yard sign that led to them Googling you and going to your website and then calling from your website? Like there's a first attribution and a last attribution, right? And there may be a few touch points in the middle, but just getting a good understanding and a feeling of where that comes from. Something else in the KPIs that I think everyone should focus on is proper expectations. So, if you're looking at a new marketing channel, maybe you're looking at doing telemarketing, right? And you're looking at it, you have to say, man, how much time am I going to give this? And being honest about how much time it's going to take, right? Like if you're focused on brand, it's a long-term play, right? There, even if you're turning on Google ads, you need 3, 4, 6 months to really optimize Google ads campaigns. Not that you can't get things going and leads coming in sooner than that, but there's a learning period. And so if you have an improper expectation about what's going to happen from this marketing channel, I don't think that you would expect to put up a billboard and just the phone would ring off of the hook from the day that it went up, right? We have to have proper expectations. If you're doing direct mail, kind of in the traditional way of, hey, we're going to send out 10,000 postcards. I hope you wouldn't have the expectation that you're going to be, all 10,000 people are going to call you the first time that postcard lands, right? Very few people are going to call you. But after they've received, 10, 15, 20 postcards from you over a couple of year period of time, boy, that builds up, right? Those brand impressions build up. So you have to have an expectation. Hey, is this a short-term marketing strategy, a mid-term marketing strategy, a long-term marketing strategy? Are there things that we can measure and focus on to improve? So maybe you're running Facebook ads and you get to a customer acquisition cost of $1,000 through your Facebook ads. I'm just making up a number here. Then you have a benchmark. Now you can say, okay, now let's run another ad and see if we could get it to be better or worse, right? Let's see if this ad performs better or worse. I just helped someone with their Facebook ads recently who he had multiple ads running, but he wasn't paying attention. And so he went back after we sat down and talked. I was like, well, which audience are he had multiple audiences that he was targeting on Facebook. I was, well, which audience is turning into the best leads for you? Which ad copy is turning into the best, which ad creative is turning into the best lead for you? And he went back and he sent me a Facebook message and he's like, man, that old 80-20 rule applies, that Pareto's principle, right? Like 80% of his leads were coming from this one ad targeted at this one specific audience. But without looking at it, without having multiple ads running at the same time, he wouldn't know which one was the most effective. So now he can take that as his control group and start to iterate on that. And that's what we want to do. Marketing is not magic, right? Marketing is not magic. If you need leads in your business, I feel for you, but that's not marketing. If you need leads in your business, if you need a job today, knock doors until you have a job, right? There is a direct route to a job. And so, I hope that really, kind of gives you guys some good things to think about. It's my first solo episode that I've done. So really excited about this. It's a little bit different. Like I said, I love the interview. I love to learn from other people, but hopefully you guys learned a lot. Like we said, for your actionable items, man, work on that branding, work on that brand consistency and messaging, becoming omnipresent, for client retention and referrals, building raving fans, work on that effective communication, become a master at your customers never wondering what's happening or what's going on. And then build a skill set around data and measuring the key performance indicators, measuring the effectiveness of different things, and understanding that this is a journey. There's not just one magic pill that's gonna take you to the next to the moon with everything. And so I hope everyone learned everything. Join the Roofing Success Facebook group. We're back up and running there. The Roofing Success YouTube channel, please go and subscribe. Type in Roofing Success. We're getting that up and running again and getting that video content out to you. Check out roofingsuccesspodcast.com. It's been a journey really getting this show, as we've kind of gone on our own with the show away from roofer marketers. There's been a lot of work that we've had to do, and some things have taken a little bit longer than others, but man, we're back at it. We want to continue to provide the industry with great content. Check out the Roofing and Solar Reform Alliance. We're going to stomp the scum out of the industry, I promise you. And leave a comment. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Shoot me a text message. My phone number's in a lot of the descriptions. And let me know what you think. Let me know if you want to hear more episodes like this. This has been another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. Thank you for tuning into the Roofing Success Podcast. For more valuable content, visit roofingsuccesspodcast.com. While there, check out our sponsors for exclusive offers, shop for merchandise, and sign up for our newsletter for industry updates and tips. Also, join the Roofing Success Facebook group to connect with other professionals and stay updated on the latest trends. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment. Your support helps us continue to bring you top industry insights. The website link is in the description. Thanks for listening.